Sai Ram students, a warm welcome to all of you. I hope all of you are doing good. Today's class, as you all know, is going to be a revision class, and we will be revising 2 lessons from your textbook, Footprints Without Feet. To begin with, we'll start with lesson number 2, The Thieves' Story. This story is about a 15-year-old thief who changes his name every month to stay ahead of the police and old employers. This time, he kept his name Hari Singh. The other person in the story is a 25-year-old writer named Anil. The thief meets Anil and asks him if he can work for him. The story unfolds on how the thief betrays Anil by committing a theft, but retracts later on. So you all are aware of this story. This video session, I will be giving you only and only the value points, the summary of the lesson. The story is about 2 different people. One is a thief of 15 years of age and the other is a man of approximately 25 years who is watching a wrestling match somewhere. And the name of the person who is watching the match is Anil, the writer. The thief approaches Anil and starts talking to him because he feels that he had not robbed anyone in the past few days and thought that it would be easy to rob a simple person like Anil. They both start talking and Anil asks the thief his name. The thief introduces himself as Hari Singh. This is not his real name, as he changes his name every month to escape from his ex-employers or the police. Then they start talking about the wrestlers and Anil was about to leave when Hari called him again and asked if he could work for Anil. Anil said that he won't be able to pay him but could feed him if he knew to cook. Hari lied that he knew how to cook. Anil took Hari to his room, which was above a sweet shop. Hari cooked a meal which was really bad because Anil did not eat it. Anil asked Hari to leave, but he tried to please Anil. Hari smiled in his most attractive way and Anil could not stop laughing looking at him. Anil agreed to teach Hari how to cook, write full sentences and add numbers. Hari was grateful as he knew that there would be no limit to robbing people once he learned how to read and write. The narrator used to like working for Anil as he used to make him tea in the morning and then go out to buy the groceries for the day. That is when he used to steal 1 rupee from the money that was given to him to buy groceries every day. Anil knew that he used to steal, but he did not mind. Anil used to make money by irregular works. Sometime he used to borrow money, and the other day when he had money, he would be lending it to other people. Whenever he used to get money, he would go out with his friends to celebrate. One day, Anil came in with a bundle of notes and told Hari that he had sold a book to a publisher. At night, he kept the money safely under the mattress of his bed. Hari realized that he had been working for Anil for more than a month and had not stolen anything apart from the 1 rupee that he kept every day from the grocery money. Hari had many chances to steal, as he had the key to the room as well. But he was surprised with the amount of trust Anil had on him, as he had never seen such a trusting person in his life. This trust thing was preventing him from robbing Anil, as Hari thought that robbing a careless person like Anil didn't make much difference, because he might not even notice that he had been robbed, and that took out all the fun from the work. Then he thought of stealing Anil's money and justified himself that if he didn't steal money from Anil, then also he would waste it on his friends, and also Anil didn't pay him for the work that he did. Hari then woke up at night and quietly crawled to Anil's bed. He steals the money and decides to leave the city by Lucknow Express that departed at 10:30. When he reached the station, the train had slowly started moving from the platform. He could have easily caught the train, but he hesitated, and he himself did not know the reason for it. Why he stopped? He didn't have any reason. He himself didn't know the reason. Before he had reached the station, he counted the money, and it was 600 rupees in 50 rupee notes. He could live a lavish life for 2 to 3 weeks with so much money. After the train had left, Hari was all alone at the station. He was left with no place to sleep at night. The only person he knew was Anil, and he had looted him as well. He sat on the bench in a park, and as it started to rain, he sat down under the clock tower. Then he realized that the notes had got wet. He realized that learning how to read and write would help him to get a much more respectable and honest job, which would pay him much more than these few 100 rupees. And then he decides to go back to Anil's house. He reached the room and placed the money back. Next morning, he woke up a bit late, and Anil had already made his tea. Anil gave a 50 rupee note to Hari, as he had got paid for some work and he would be regularly paid. He is who? It is Hari Singh. Hari took the note in his hand and realized that the note was still wet from the rain last night. Hari realized that Anil had come to know about his misdeed, but there was no sadness, anger, or guilt in his mind. The narrator smiled in a beautiful way, and it was genuine happiness, as he knew that he had saved himself from the wrong road. He had realized something. That's the reason that realization made him go back to Anil. So students, here I have just covered the summary of the lesson, but make sure you go through the video wherein I have taught the lesson in detail. Moving on to the next lesson, that is footprints without feet. This is quite an interesting story about a scientist named Griffin. He had been finding ways that could make a man invisible. He got success in his experiment and developed a formula with which he could become invisible, but can be touched and felt physically. Let's cover the value points of this lesson as well. The story is about a scientist named Griffin. He had been discovering ways which could make a man invisible and finally swallowed certain rare drug that made him invisible. He was first noticed by two boys in staircase of a house where they could just see his footsteps and started following it. They followed it until the footsteps are fainter and cannot be seen. First, as he is feeling cold, he enters a mall for some warmth. After the store shuts down, he decides to wear some warm clothes and eat something. He first unboxes a few clothes and wears them. Then, from the kitchen of a restaurant, he eats cold meat and has some coffee. Later, he goes to a grocery store and eats sweets and drinks wine. He then falls asleep on a pile of quilts. He then wakes up in the morning with some of the store assistants had seen him and started chasing him. So there was some sound, when the store assistants came in, as they had seen him and they had started chasing him. He quickly threw away all the clothes he was wearing and became invisible again. He then started roaming around again without any clothes in the cold winter of London. He then decides to steal clothes from a theatre company as he knew he would get something there to cover his face as well. He then steals bandages for his face, dark glasses, false nose, and a hat for covering himself. He then hits the shopkeeper and steals all his money. Soon, he realizes that London is too crowded to live like this, and he decides that he would go to a remote village. And he goes to the Iping village. He reaches there, and it is strange for the people of Iping that a stranger with such a weird appearance has come to stay at an inn during the winter season. Once his money is over, he steals from people and also hits the landlord and his wife when they try to check his room in his absence. Then the village constable is asked for help, but before that, Mrs. Hall, the wife of landlord, asks him questions regarding who he is and what he did to her furniture. This makes him really furious, and he decides to show her who he really is. The people then see a headless man, and Mr. Jaffers, the constable, also finds out that he would have to arrest a man who does not have a head. They are unable to catch Griffin, as he removes all his clothes and becomes invisible. So when these people are trying to catch hold of Griffin, again he does the same thing. He removes his clothes and he becomes invisible. And he even knocks down Jaffers as he tries to catch him. So that's it, students, for this session. We have covered up 2 lessons from our textbook, Footprints Without Feet. Lesson number 2, The Thief's Story, and lesson number 3, that is Footprints Without Feet. Once again, students, I'm giving you a reminder to go through all your previous videos wherein the lessons were dealt in detail. The revision videos will only give you the summary of the lessons. Make sure you watch those videos to get the meanings of the hard words as well. We'll catch up very soon in our next class. Till then, students, you will take care of yourself. Sai Ram and bye-bye.